Do you have the hustle gene, and are you willing to take a risk on yourself to put yourself in the room and have the forethought to think this could be my meal ticket that changes my entire life? And that's how it should be every time you go to do rooms. And it may
Yeah.
pay off 5 or 10 years later. It may pay off the day later. You never know, but you for sure won't know if you don't get in the room. So we do the dinners, and the dinners are a time where we're breaking bread. We're having drinks and talking. If you're not drinking, it doesn't matter. Kevin doesn't drink. I drink. Kevin doesn't drink. He stands around with a Sprite and a lime, and he sits there and he has conversation with everybody. It's about the conversation you're having.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Hey, Blue Collar Millionaires, Chris and I back. Today we're talking about masterminds, networking, meeting people, and the dinners we're doing, and why Chris and I are doing it, what we've learned, how powerful it has been for us, and why we're doing this kind of unique thing in your local area so you can build out your own network. So, Chris, I'll tell you what my theory was a long time. We both had similar things, but 5 years ago, I was doing really well in my business, but I had a lot of bums around me, or I was kind of a loner. I might have even been an introvert. I was working all day. I didn't really have any friends, and I didn't want like friends who wanted to go out to Applebee's to get drunk. I was like, man, I got to get around people who are doing big things like myself or bigger. I went to a dinner in 2000, I think 14, with a mentor. He was 20 years older than me. And he told me, hey, the biggest piker in the room, I don't know if you guys know what a piker is. That's a Wall Street term for the guy making the least money, because Wall Street guys make a lot. So you could be making $1 million a year. They'll call you a piker. He's like, the biggest piker in here is clearing $3 million in cash. So he's like, so bring your fucking A game and let's go. But then he said, just be yourself. Don't try to overdo it and you'll do great. So I went to this dinner. It was a bunch of 65-year-old guys. I was in my early 40s. And man, so many people were helpful and like, oh man, this is a great idea. You could do 10 million a year doing this. I got this incredible borrowed belief. I remember when I walked out to this day, what that felt like. There was a cobblestone thing going to my car, and I was like, man, this is where I need to be. I just need to find people my age or something, not 65-year-olds. And I got a ton of work out of two guys who owned a bunch of apartment buildings all over Georgia. And they don't talk to their regular, they never met a guy who cleaned gutters. They don't give a shit. They were like, oh yeah, just call me in the morning or call so-and-so. Tell them that I said that we're switching vendors. I remember one guy said that to me at the end of the dinner. And I was like, okay. He didn't ask me for prices or anything. It's relationship. I still service those clients to this day. So then, Chris, you and I we got into other masterminds, but why I'm doing these local dinners. So we did an Atlanta one. Chris and I were there. We're going to do it in Chicago, New Jersey, Cleveland. And then tell us what your city is, because we want to come in there. We had 22 people. Subtract Chris and I, you got 20 people who are high-level people. You know, they paid to come to this 5-star steak dinner. It's going to be super high level. You're going to get high people doing millions of dollars. What if you're not? Take your spot anyway. Be the next one. You got to get around these people. We don't say, hey, show us your bank statements. We want to know you're a motivated guy. And when you come out of that dinner, you now have a group that you know are motivated. You exchange all your numbers, get on Facebook, and then keep up with them. And that's how you build these relationships. And we've already seen it. Chris, I didn't even tell you, I know a couple people already doing business and our dinners.
Every time we go to one of these dinners, I'm sitting there trying to connect them with someone that I know that's in their same game, but at a higher level, and maybe not even a higher. Here's to go back to your one little question. If you're not at millions of dollars, but you pay to get in this room, you may think you're not warranted to be in that room. But as from being on the other side of the fence and from being in that mindset of I'm not doing enough to be in this room, the only metric that people that are highly successful look at is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you going to hustle? Because they don't care if you've not hit your success yet, because they know it's just a matter of time if you have the hustle gene. So if you've got the hustle gene, it is extremely advantageous for you to sit there and pay to put yourself in the rooms with people that are doing way bigger than you, because the respect is not on your balance sheet. The respect is on your effort that you're willing to put in to have success. That is the differentiator between the people that hit success and the people that never make it. It's they weren't willing to hustle because they didn't have the hustle gene, the discipline to do it. I can tell you for a fact, every time that I go to a room and I'm in a room where people have paid something, first of all, there's just something about breaking bread with people. When you sit there and have dinner with individuals, there is a different level of relationship that takes place. There's a deeper connection of friendship. The other thing is, I have walked away with borrowed belief every single time I sit at a table with other individuals that are doing great things in business. Regardless of their level of success at this point, when they're hustling, they've got a story to tell. And I'm able to walk away extremely encouraged. And most of the time, I have tactical things that I can implement, especially if I do a follow up call with them after the dinner. And you will make connections in your area where you will have collaboration, might even be able to build up affiliate synergies between your businesses and their businesses, and you can make some money by passing referrals. But the relationship capital that gets built when you get into the rooms where people are paying to be a part of that atmosphere is a completely different situation than going to a chamber of commerce local meetup, because those people paid $100 or $200 for a membership for a year. When you're paying $1,000 a ticket to be at a dinner table, you're there with the desire to make connection. And even if you're not an extrovert, somebody that is an extrovert is going to come over there and meet you. Like when me and you, Kevin, when we're in those rooms, we're making sure everybody's having conversation. If you're sitting in the corner, we're coming to talk to you because
Of course.
you paid to get in that room, and we want to make sure that you walk away with a ton of value.
It's kind of like anybody who's been married at a wedding. You got to work the room. You got to talk to all your guests who came. That's how I'm doing it. I mean, we love doing it. So Chris and I are outgoing. We want to make everybody. I made sure I talked to everybody. And if you don't, I'm going to pull you aside at the end and try to connect with you on any level. But here's the thing with the paying the money is I got this when I was in Tim Brotz's mastermind. Back then it was $24,000 for the year. You have to wire in $24,000, kind of a lot of money or whatever you want to say. And I was at that first event and I was thinking, man, everybody in here did that same exact thing. So
Yeah.
they're committed. It's a Wednesday. It's not 7 o'clock at night and they're eating cookies and coffee. Like this is what they're doing for the next 3 days. They clearly have businesses that can handle that. And what happened? We met, Chris and I are both in that group and we've met incredible people with it.
Shy AIDS. I met
Shy-
him through Legacy Family.
Yeah,
Tim.
he's a sponsor on our show. He's an awesome guy. Tim. And then Tim introduced me to Mark Evans. And it just keeps going. High level people can introduce you to high level other people. Every time they send you, hey, I know an accountant, or hey, I know a lawyer, it's always a great one. It's the opposite's true. If you hang out with somebody whose life's kind of a mess and a train wreck and chaos, when they connect you with somebody, guess who that person is? That's why they hang out together. So you need to be around that. So paying is the best thing. I went to free meetups back in the day. I never got anything of it. It's just guys sitting around looking to raise money.
We all
They're
start
looking,
somewhere.
they're looking for the guys who are at this dinner, but the guys at this dinner don't go there.
Right.
But you don't, most of the guys in there, yes, they're all going to be pretty much 7-figure, even 8-figure business owners, some deca millionaires, but there's always going to be a couple guys. We had a couple guys, our partners, they're high level guys, but they are not millionaires. They are early 30s. They are operating partners in one of our business. They came up there. Anybody who meets them knows they're high level guys. In 10 years, are they going to be multimillionaires? Of course.
Absolutely. But they've got the hustle gene.
But they are
that.
very welcome in those rooms. And I vet for Atlanta. And even when I talk to the New Jersey and Cleveland dinners that we haven't done yet, I talk to everybody on Messenger. And guys disqualify themselves. Either they can't afford it, which is fine, or they're just something it wasn't a good fit. But I've never had a guy who people will front to try to act like they're rich driving a fancy car, but they won't spend $1,000 on a dinner because they don't even believe in themselves that they're going to get anything out of it. But Chris and I already know. Chris, you could talk about when you went on a $10,000 jet, what happened?
Yeah, I remember, and this is a mindset. Look, rich people spend money differently than broke people do. Okay. They spend it on investments. And you getting in the room with other successful people is an investment in yourself. You taking a training course and paying for it is an investment in yourself. Anything that you can do for self development and relationship connection is an investment for yourself. So I paid $500 to do a course on commercial real estate. After that course, I paid $1,000 to get in a monthly mastermind so that I could have access to that knowledge and information to keep me on track and disciplined to go for that goal. And also, as I had questions arise, I'd be able to get answers quickly. Then I ended up paying a $10,000 ticket to get on a private plane on an event already going to, and already had my commercial airfare booked, and I rerouted my commercial airfare to fly away from the event so I could hop on the jet to fly to the event. I knew that others were paying 10 grand, and I thought to myself, if I can get on this jet, and I am married, and so I did this, and then I walked in the house and I told my wife, I said, "Hey, I just spent $10,000 to get on the jet. I need you to reroute my commercial flight to take me to this location so I can get on the jet." She said, "You did what?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Because I know that this $10,000 will make me 10 million because of the connections that I will meet and the information I will gain." And it was a hour and a half or 2 hour flight there and back. So I had 4 hours total, but I was pegged by the person that sold that ticket. And Kevin, that's why me and you were business partners now in this
It is.
platform, is because without a shadow of a doubt, is because I paid 10 grand to get on that ticket, that jet. And I didn't know how it was going to pay off and how I was going to get a return on investment. If I make 10 million from it, yeah, no. But do I still believe that I will make 10 million plus from that effort? 100%. And this is how you have to think. So keep leveling yourself up, but you don't get that stuff when you're going to free shit. It's because you're not paying to play, and the real players are paying to play. Somebody made a post in Blue Collar Millionaire about the good old boy system and how do you get in, and they're always grinding it out. But then you see the Elons and the Trumps and all these other people, and it seems like the rich just keep playing with the rich. They are. You're exactly right. But that doesn't mean that you can't pay to get in that room and your hustle gene get recognized and you start to get to eat at the same table. That's all it takes. I'm telling you, it's not what your balance sheet says right now. It's, do you have the hustle gene and are you willing to take a risk on yourself to put yourself in the room and have the forethought to think this could be my meal ticket that changes my entire life? And that's how it should be every time you go to these rooms. And it may
Yeah.
pay off 5 or 10 years later. It may pay off the day later. You never know, but you for sure won't know if you don't get in the room. So we do the dinners, and the dinners are a time where we're breaking bread. We are having drinks and talking. If you're not drinking, it doesn't matter. Kevin doesn't drink. I drink. Kevin doesn't drink. He stands around with a Sprite and a lime, and he sits there and he has conversation with everybody. It's about the conversation you're having. Then we do masterminds. We're going to have a new mastermind, Florida, Destin, Florida, beautiful beach house, 3-story, catered. Private chef comes in, does the dinner, steak dinners. We're going to have this at the beginning of the year. So reach out to us. Kevin, if they're interested in connecting on these live events, whether it's the dinners, trying to get us out to their city to host a dinner or do an in-person mastermind, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, one thing you can do is you can always go to bluecollarmillionaire.net. You can go to the contact there, or you can go, you guys are on I will assume you're in Blue Collar Millionaire group in Facebook. If not, you need to get there. There's 200,000 members there. It's a great group. Everybody loves it. But you can go in there. You can message me, Kevin Marin, Marron. You'll see me. There's another bald guy that looks like me, Kevin Marin. But you could just message me. I get a lot of messages. So just put mastermind or put dinner Chicago if you're interested in that. And my executive assistant reads all my messages. I can't read them all, but she will absolutely tell me, "Hey, there's a guy who wants to be in the mastermind." I'll go in there and I'll start talking to you. So
Hey,
it's a
let
great
me
way to do it.
Let me make this. I need to put this so that they have better context about my $10,000 jet ticket. I was just barely making over $1 million in revenue in my core business at that time. Okay. I don't want y'all to think that I had 10 million in revenue coming in and that's why $10,000 wasn't a big deal. $10,000 was a very big deal, but I believed that it was going to change my life. And that's why I made a decision. I literally told Mark Evans was the one hosting that jet event. I said, you don't have to sell me anymore. I'm in. I knew that I knew. So
Well,
stop thinking you don't have the money. Sometimes to get the money, you have to make the investment. I was barely over $1 million in revenue when I did that jet experience for 10 grand. I
well,
found a way to get the money and allocate that money to the jet.
well, Chris, let me finish up on this about the thing. So, the things you get when you do this are you get access to their network, which is super powerful. Because when you build your network, you also get access to other people's network and they get access to yours. So that's why you want high level people because they have good networks and they'll want to share it with you. You're vetting them because you're watching them at dinners and things like that, where it's not just, oh, look at them on Instagram living the life. You get to know them, get to know, like, and trust them. Chris, like I've introduced you to Cody Campbell, got a
Mhm.
30 million plus
Yeah.
dollar trash valet business. It's all over the country. I do a ton of business with him. Chris and Cody can do business together too, especially when he gets to Mississippi, you're going to, because
Mhm.
you guys have had so many meetings now. It's
Oh,
only been a few, but they've been 2 hours one-on-one dinners. You can get that's very different than, hey, let's do a 5-minute Zoom call.
right.
It's
Right.
not the same. And then you get access to the opportunities they have. But let me follow up on that $10,000 jet thing. Now, I never really totally thought about the jet thing, but it's part of it because you're in the alliance as well. I told Mark Evans, hey, I'm going to do this blue collar millionaire thing. I'm going to do a Facebook group, but I don't really like being on camera that much. I want somebody who's got an outgoing personality and they got to be like a blue collar millionaire. I don't know who that guy is. And then he says, you know who Chris Garrison is? I said, yeah, I know who he is. And he says, yeah, connect with him. He's the guy. And then I said, okay. He goes, no, he's going to be the one for you. Do it with him. Because Mark already had that thing. So I got kind of a network. I knew who Chris was from Facebook, but I didn't really know him. You made your $10,000 back and then some. So, and
Oh, yeah.
Chris and I are going to make millions on this and help people make millions. So,
And that's about a year later. That's about a year later after that jet experience when you approached me. Year and a half.
no, because he knows me. So he knows exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, a guy who would do this, that's the guy you should be doing this with.
Yeah.
It's always the same. So it's powerful. Guys, we're going to have these dinners. Message me. We're going to have a mastermind probably early February. It's going to be down by Destin, Florida. Incredible house. You stay in the house. It's all inclusive, meals, everything, and learn all kinds of strategies, tricks, trade secrets we're doing to make millions of dollars. We only talk about shit we know that works. Then we're going to have dinners coming up. I'm not going to list all the dinners. Just message me. There's going to be one coming to major cities by you. Build your network out. And then, of course, we have Boardroom Elite, which is a virtual one. It's $500 a month. We meet every Thursday. You got access to Chris and I. If you look at that, it's $6,000 a year. If you can't net way more than $6,000 being in that, you didn't even come to the virtual things. I'll tell you so many ways to make money. I told people how to save more than that just on their workers' comp.
Absolutely.
I'm a savant on workers' comp. I know everything about it. So, Chris and I, let's get off. We'll see you guys next week.
See you.